Thank you very much for inviting the Commission at your conference. My name is Daniela Buzica from the European Commission, DG Environment, and I'm working on Sustainable Freshwater Management Unit. Is the unit doing the assessment of the River Resilience Plan, but about this a bit later. We heard before that there are different uses, demands, pressures. Water is a cross-cutting issue. We need it for navigation, for hydropower, for agriculture, for tourism, from drinking water, industry, etc. But water is often taken for granted, while the reality has become that we are confronted with either too little, too polluted, or too much water with increasing frequency, and climate change is expected to make matter worse. We are facing, as you know, a triple planetary crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution, and water is at the heart of it all. Since the 70s, the EU have put in place robust legislation to protect water and aquatic environment. The main aim of EU water policy is to identify and implement actions to ensure that water is available throughout the EU in sufficient quantities and good qualities. There is no doubt that sustainable water management and water resilience are a key challenge for the future of the EU and its member states. What we know now from the previous assessment of the state European waters is that much remains to be done, with only around 40% of the EU surface water having reached good ecological status and only 38% good chemical status. This is of major concern. We are currently doing the assessment of the third River Basin Management Plan, and the situation doesn't look much better. Of course, we will look how the River Basin Management Plan have contributed to solve the triple planetary crisis, how the plans have reduced biodiversity loss. This includes measure to improve ecological status or measure to reduce hydromorphological pressure. We look how the third River Basin Management Plan have increased climate resilience and our capacity to adapt to climate change. And last and not least, how have the River Basin Management Plan have reduced pollution. And here we look at measures to reduce pollution in agriculture and other sector. Due to unsustainable water management practices now exacerbated by climate change, fresh water is becoming scarcer. The same is true when too much water suddenly strikes, as we have seen with the devastating floods that have affected many European countries over the past few years. On these slides, it shows on a single map nearly 40,000 areas of potential significant flood risk identified in the EU. This is quite scary as well. So the water crisis we are seeing at the moment is a matter of dealing with too much water, too little water, and water that is too polluted to meet the demands of our society. Across Europe, water availability is decreasing, and the trend is evident in countries with relatively high water availability, as well as those with water historically more scarce. Water scarcity, it is not longer only an issue in the Mediterranean regions, but also increasingly for many more areas across Europe, including Hungary. And this has often more to do with man-made causes rather than climate change only. In addition, the new normal already includes prolonged droughts, followed by devastating floods, sometimes in the same region. As a result of climate change, the average availability of water in surface water and groundwater is projected to increase in northeastern Europe and decrease in southern and southwestern Europe, while mixed patterns are expected in the central parts of Europe. Water stress in Europe is expected to worsen in the future due to potential impacts of climate change on water availability, urbanization, intensive tourism, or land cover changes that will affect groundwater recharge condition. So the daily reality tells us that it is imperative to act now and to work towards a water resilient Europe, which is better equipped to adapt to the existing and future water challenges and leaves no one behind. This is a message that comes across clearly in the communication on managing climate risk published earlier this year, reacting to the first European climate risk assessment. Climate change is a risk multiplier that can exacerbate existing risks and crises. For example, climate change driven mega droughts can lead to water and food insecurity, spread of diseases, disruptions of critical infrastructure, and threats to financial market and stability. Already at the UN Water Conference in 2023, the EU vision for 2050 water resilience was endorsed by the College. That reads, in 2050, global society will be water resilient, offering water security for all. This entails the protection and restoration of aquatic ecosystem and a fair balance between water supply and water demands, responding to current needs, including the realization of the human right to safe drinking water and sanitation without compromising the rights of future generations. In the European policy context, European Council in March 2023 acknowledged the need for enhanced EU and global action on water and the importance of strategic EU approach to water security. Well, more recently in June this year, while adopting strategic agenda committed to strengthen water resilience across the Union and investing in cross-border infrastructure also for water. The European Parliament was adopted a resolution on droughts in 2022, while last year two plenary discussions on water crisis took place. Over the past year, the Commission has taken a significant number of measures as part of the European Green Deal to further strengthen the EU's water law, protect freshwater and season-enhanced water resilience. Several EU water laws have been proposed for revision and are currently in co-decision. The revised urban wastewater treatment has been agreed by co-legislator, while the updated list of the water pollutants under the Water Framework Directive is a bit slower, but is now the trialogue phase. That means still under co-decision. The Commission has also adopted a proposal for new essential laws which will enhance water resilience by better protecting ecosystem. That is the nature restoration law and the soil monitoring, and promoting water efficiency across economic sectors through the revision of the Industrial Emission Directive, the Eco Design for Sustainable Products regulation. Ongoing, you may know, for sure that the Commission has launched the wise use communication campaign to raise awareness, see water differently. This campaign was launched at the Green Week that happened to concentrate on water resilience in May this year. As I mentioned before, the Commission is doing the assessment report on the implementation of the Water Framework Directive and Plus Directive, as well as Program of Measure and the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, and also the EEA is preparing the State of European Waters report. The deadline for this is the end of the year. Other laws that are under evaluation, the Marine Strategy Framework Directive, Nitrates Directive, Basin Water Directive, and internationally, there was the World Water Forum in May this year, and will be one water summit this in September, and COP16 in October. You may know that the European Economic and Social Committee calls on the Commission to start addressing water as a priority and to propose a new Blue Deal as a standalone strategic priority. The committee puts forward a number of specific proposals across a number of themes: access to clean and affordable water and sanitation, sustainable and resilient water infrastructure, sustainable use and consumption of water, and fostering new opportunity and financing the EU Blue Deal. Recently, the Commission Vice President and the Commissioner for Climate received a letter signed by 20 member states asking the Commission to ensure that water will be a top priority in the European agenda over the coming years. And last but not least, very important, on 18th of July this year, the President-elect Ursula von der Leyen presenting her political guidelines for the next European Commission, and she announced European water resilience to ensure that sources are properly managed, scarcity is addressed, that we enhance the competitive, innovative edge of our water industry and take a circular economy approach. The Commission will also lead efforts to mitigate and prevent acute water stress across the world. Obviously, we don't have yet the Commission form, so no precise date for publishing this strategy has been set yet, but it's in the pipeline. Thank you very much for your attention.